In today's lesson, we're going to go through page 22 of your Essential Drum Beats Level 1 book, which is our eighth note rock beats. Hopefully, we've already gone through our quarter note rock beats, and we know that eighth note is where we're playing 2 hits per pulse. So, going to use my metronome at 80 beats per minute. So there's our quarter notes, and our hi-hat parts are going to be playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. In pattern 1, you can see that the bass drum is on count 1, then we've got a rest, and then we've got the bass drum on count 3. So if this is my 4 beats, our bass drum is going to play on 1, 3, 1, 3, adding my hi-hats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then pattern 2, we've got our 4 bass drums, so we're going to play our bass drum on all 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. In beat number 3, instead of the rests, we've got our snare drum hits. So we've got bass, snare, bass, snare. Here we go. Let's listen to that. 3, 1. And number 4, we've got our 4 bass drums again, but we can see that our bass drum and our snare drum hit together on counts 2 and 4. So it's the only pattern on this page where we have to do that, where we hit bass drum and snare drum at the same time. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Bass together, bass together. In pattern 5, we're going to start with double bass drums. Bass, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare. So it's what I've described, again, as a little 4-note pattern. So we've got our first 4 notes, bass, bass, snare, and a pick. And then the second 4 notes, the second half of the bar, is exactly the same. Here we go. Then in pattern number 6, we start with the doubles, but then we've got the singles. So it's not symmetrical this time. Doubles in the first half, then the single bass drum. Reverse that in number 7, single bass and then doubles. Pattern number 8 is a little practice exercise where we're practicing getting our 5 notes in a row. Bass, bass, snare, bass, bass. And we can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. then in number 9, we get our snare drum back where it should be. So what makes a rock beat is that snare drum on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So now we're going to put that back. And in number 10, we're going to take out the double at the start, but we're going to leave the double bass drum in the middle. So our counting goes 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Number 11 is like the opposite of number 9. The two halves of the bar have been swapped. So we start with the single bass drum, and then we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes in a row. Okay, and then in number 12, we are going to drop out again that double bass drum, but we still have the double bass drum between the last note and the first note of the bar. Number 13 is another little symmetrical pattern where I can see that the first 4 notes are the same as the second 4 notes. So we've got a bass drum, a hi-hat, snare drum, bass, and then we do the same thing again. Bass, tick, snare, bass. Bass, tick, snare, bass. And that's our little 4-note pattern. 2, 3, 4. Number 14 adds 3 bass drums in a row now. Bass, snare, bass, 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 snare. Number 15, we're going to now add that last bass drum onto the bar, so we get that double bass between the last note and the first note. Okay, last pattern, we're again back to one of those 4-note symmetrical patterns. No gaps this time. Bass, bass, snare, bass, and then again. Bass, bass, snare, bass, 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 snare, bass. If you're able to play along with those, that's fantastic. If you found they're a little bit fast, feel free to start slower, maybe around 60 beats per minute, and gradually, as you get more confident, start to speed them up. If you can manage to play them at the 80 beats per minute, again, feel free to start increasing that tempo at 85, 90, 95, up to 120, which is getting to be a fairly medium fast kind of tempo. But the wider the range of tempos we can play our beats, the more songs we're going to be able to play them along to. The other thing that you may like to do in your practice is not just play them on closed hi-hats, but get a variety of sounds. So you might play on loose hi-hats, or playing on the top of the crash cymbal, or the shoulder, really crushing. So that can help to add a little bit of variety to your sound. In our next video, our next job then is to start putting them all together. So until then, happy practicing.